Xiaomi's hardware and Google's software. Isn't that the best thing ever? Well, we've been through this 2 times before, and while it has been a good journey, it hasn't exactly been perfect. Well, as they say, third time's the charm, and Xiaomi is out with their third edition of the Mi A series, which is the Mi A3, and it packs a punch for sure. But is that punch enough to get that money out of your pocket? Well, let's find that out in this video. So hey, this is Sreehari from Mr. Phone, and let's jump into a full review of the Xiaomi Mi A3. But of course, before you jump into the video, don't forget to subscribe to the Mr. Phone channel and also hit the bell icon right next to it so that you get notified when we put out a new video. Also, Mr. Phone is now very close to 200k, or maybe just crossed 200k if you guys love us too much. And there is a special giveaway going on for the Vivo V15 Pro. So please make sure to check that out on the Mr. Phone channel. If you go to the community page, you'll see that post for the giveaway. All the simple rules are below, and you could just win yourself that ruby red love from the Vivo V15 Pro. The Xiaomi Mi A1 was the first phone in the A series, and it was built like a tank, and I absolutely loved it. Then came the Mi A2. It was again metal build. It was not as thick as the Mi A1, but I still loved how the Mi A2 looked. Now, while I'm sad that the world has moved on from these metal phones, it is what it is, and Xiaomi seems to be providing just what the people are asking for. A glass back, an eye-catching design, and 3 colors to choose from, which vary in flashiness from kinda grey, more than white, and not just blue. Now, the glass back is also covered in Gorilla Glass 5, which means peace of mind more than protection. The buttons are all very tactile and nicely placed as well. The size of the phone is something I like a lot. It's smaller than the Mi A2 with a bigger display size, and the curves at the back just make it the perfect size to fit in the palm. I actually did not have to do a lot of finger gymnastics to reach all corners of the phone. Also, all the people that took this phone in their hands, the first thing out of their mouths was how comfortable it is. The Mi A3 sports a USB-C port, but the more celebrated change is the return of the beloved 3.5mm analog headphone jack, and I think this is the first time in at least mainstream smartphone history where a smartphone brand has actually gone back after omitting the headphone jack from a phone. They've gone back to the next version and have included the headphone jack, and it's not just any standard headphone jack. It has the exact same amplifier that we saw with the Xiaomi Mi A1, which made the audio of the Mi A1 so great and also makes the audio of the Mi A3 great as well. The single speaker is also quite loud and clear for the single grill. Xiaomi actually uses the Smart Amp 2 that the K20 also uses, and the Mi A3 has it for better speaker quality. The Mi A3 comes with a hybrid slot. What that means is that you'll either be able to use 2 SIM cards or a SIM card and a micro SD card slot. That is something that might be a point of contention to a few people, but for me, because I use only 1 SIM, it was quite fine. The phone also comes with P2i coating, so take it for what it is. There is a slight camera bump too, but Xiaomi has actually added Gorilla Glass 5 on the bump as well, or on the camera visor as well. What that means is that you don't have to worry about the bump scratching easily. So now let's move on to the display. Oh, the display. Well, the Mi A3 goes back on the resolution this time with a 720p plus panel. Now, 720p plus resolution, the resolution war will never be over, and we actually had almost settled down on the 1080p resolution as at least the minimum resolution that you could go with, because even flagship phones were coming out with the same resolutions. Phones that were selling was 70,000. But 720p, which is just 1 notch lower than 1080p, is actually frowned upon by people even over 10,000. And with the Mi A3, the same thing has happened. That said, if Apple can sell near 720p phones for 60,000 in India, then I don't think that the slack that Mi A3 is getting for the 720p resolution is actually fair. And the iPhone screen is not even AMOLED. Now that that's out of the way, let's talk about the actual quality of the panel, because that is the thing that bugs me more. The display has a cool tint at lower angles, and you can make that out from anywhere. The color accuracy when looking at it directly is pretty fine, and so are the brightness levels. But when it comes to resolution as well, I'm perfectly fine with resolution to the point that I would actually use 720p if I'm given an option on the OnePlus 7 Pro that I'm using. But for enthusiasts and nitpickers, you will be able to see the difference. That said, the fact that it is AMOLED makes so much difference when it comes to those dark mode wallpapers or movies where the deep black just makes it look perfect. The Mi A3 comes for the first time in an A series or even the first time in a Xiaomi phone under 20,000 with an in-display fingerprint scanner. The scanner is a 7th generation one and it unlocks fairly quickly. It's not the fastest that I've tested, but it gets the job done. Apart from that, you do get Widevine L1 certification out of the box. So basically, if you're a geek or an enthusiast and you are particular about the resolution, then this is clearly not the device for you. That said, if you're someone who doesn't really care a lot about it, then the AMOLED display, while giving you punchy colors, also saves you a lot of battery and has enough resolution to make things look crisp. Now coming to software, Xiaomi was one of the brands that really gave life to the Android One project, and that is one of the major reasons people love this phone so much. Xiaomi's good hardware skills met with Google's vanilla Android has been a dream for people. Now, like the previous Mi A series phones, this one sports the latest Android 9 Pie and will soon be updated to Android Q whenever that launches officially. What stock Android provides is a clean interface, and especially for someone like me who's not a big fan of MIUI, I like the power of stock Android. It's minimal, clean and gets the job done quickly. You get all the stock things like digital well-being, ambient display, Google Assistant, pill navigation among others. Now the battery optimization is something that brands struggle with when it's stock Android, but Xiaomi and Google seem to have done a good job of handling the battery inside. Now this is certainly not for someone who likes having their phones feature packed. For that you could pick up another Xiaomi phone with MIUI. That said, for enthusiasts, geeks and others in the clan, I think stock Android software would be near perfect. Now the Mi A2 becomes the second device in India. It actually lost to Realme 5 by a day, but it still becomes factually the second device in India to come with a Snapdragon 665. Compared to the 660, the 665 does come with some performance improvements, primarily in graphics, camera performance and battery efficiency. The jump from a 14nm process to 11nm one makes sure that the battery efficiency is maintained, and a better Adreno 610 GPU makes sure that your games are now handled by more capable cores. The benchmark scores of the 665 are also just slightly better than the Snapdragon 660, but do lack when compared to a Snapdragon 675, 710 or a 712, all of which are available in the under 20,000 and even under 15K category now. The performance that I got was neither super impressive nor too bad. The 665 handled my day-to-day work quite graciously and I never felt any lags or slowing down. Playing games on it also didn't really feel slow by any means. That said, the experience wasn't snappy either. I just felt that there were other phones in this price bracket that were slightly snappier than this. Xiaomi does interestingly use UFS 2.1 storage in the Mi A3, which gives sequential read speeds of up to 506 megabytes per second and write speeds of around 190 megabytes per second. The UFS 2.1 storage does surely help with fast app opening speeds and also helps speed up other background processes. Now, if you're someone who's expecting immense power and immense snappiness out of a phone, then the Mi A2 665 is not the perfect chipset to go for. But for someone who wants to buy into that stock Android feel of Mi A3, wants to do gaming on the side but also wants that camera performance, then I guess the 665 does handle things well. Now A series for Xiaomi, along with being the Android One phone, has also been the camera-centric series. The Mi A3 is no different. The popular Sony IMX586 powers the standard 48 megapixel camera. The 8 megapixel wide camera also helps take those ultra wide shots, and the 2 megapixel depth camera helps with portrait shots. Now the wide angle camera does help with taking more into the shot, but what we are here really is for the 48 megapixel sensor and what the Mi A3 does with it. Well, Xiaomi does handle dynamic range well. For starters, every picture I took, the dynamic range was very good, which is also in part due to the better DSP on the 665. The wide shots look absolutely stunning with appealing colors and true to life colors more important. The 48 megapixel camera also produces some really crisp shots with great details, even with the pixel binned 16 megapixel shots. The portrait mode is also pretty good, even though this time we do not have a telephoto lens, but the pictures look pretty nice. The video output of the smartphone is also impressive, where you get up to 4K at 30 FPS and you get EIS in that resolution as well. The low light photography out of the Mi A3 is not any less impressive. You do get some great shots and you can of course anytime turn to night mode when things look too dark. The front camera though has some issues. To begin with, there are exposure issues happening where the phone has difficulty deciding between more or less exposure. This happened way too often in artificial indoor lighting. That said, when the lighting was absolutely perfect, this rarely happened. The colors and face tone does look pretty awesome and it maintains parity in that department compared to the back cameras. But there are a few pictures where too much over sharpening was happening. This didn't happen always, but there were pictures where I experienced. That being said, it's something that can be easily altered with an update, and if Xiaomi finds this being an issue, then they'll surely fix it soon. You can also see pictures taken using the wide angle camera as well. It's of course not as good quality as the Sony IMX586, but it also takes great pictures, and more importantly, something that we've seen with other phones is that even if there is a wide angle camera, the difference between the wide angle camera and the standard camera pictures are very big, where even the colors look different. With Xiaomi, that is actually not the case, and the pictures out of the wide angle camera look actually pretty similar, at least in color, compared to the standard camera pictures. The Mi A3's cameras are promising and click excellent pictures in almost every lighting. After listening to a lot of complaints about the Mi A2's battery, Xiaomi has included an impressive 4030 mAh battery. And the reason it's impressive is the compact size of the phone. Now, as I said earlier, the first word out of everyone who took the Mi A3 in their hands was just how compact it is. The 430 mAh battery spits out some impressive battery life, where I was averaging from about 6 to even 7 hours on a few days. Now, the phone supports up to 18-watt fast charging, but only comes in the box with a 10-watt charger, which takes about 2 hours 10 minutes to 2 hours 20 minutes to charge from 0 to 100. Now, that's not bad, but it isn't too great either. I feel Xiaomi should have at least included a 15-watt charger inside the box, if not an 18-watt one. That said, one of the biggest complaint areas on the Mi A2 has now become one of the strongest points of the Mi A3, and kudos to Xiaomi for that. Coming to call quality and network, the Mi A3 is pretty good when it comes to call quality. I did not find any issues with it. The network quality though wasn't the greatest. There were times when I wouldn't get good speeds in closed areas, and there were a few times where even in open areas the other caller couldn't hear me because of some network issues. Now, from what I've checked, this isn't exactly a widespread issue. I did ask some fellow reviewers who did not face any of it, so it's just maybe an issue with my unit. Now, if you're wondering why I am in a different attire, well, that is because we're shooting this after the price of the Mi A3 is out, because I needed some perspective. Now, there were a lot of people who talked to me while I was reviewing the Mi A3 and told me that probably the phone was DOA because they thought that the phone would be priced at 15,000 or 16,000. I didn't agree with that. Even if that was 16 or 15,000, I couldn't agree with that for a phone that is this good. This is a great phone. This is a great package. It has almost everything that one could ask for. And now with the price of rupees 12,999, I think the Mi A3 is a great product. Now, which is the biggest competitor to the Mi A3? Well, Xiaomi Mi A3's competitors are actually on both sides of it. On one side, you have the Realme 5 Pro, which was just recently launched. It's only 1,000 rupees more than the Xiaomi Mi A3, and what you get for that price is actually a Snapdragon 712. You also get a Full HD display, which the Mi A3 does not have. You also get the same Sony IMX586, and on the front you get a Sony IMX471. Now, the 586 is something that you'll see in the camera comparison between the Realme 5 Pro, the Mi A3 and the Realme X. But the front camera, as I can tell you, is actually better on the Realme phone. Realme selfie cameras have always been better. But you do get Color OS with it, which is something that a lot of people do not like, and you get Google's clear stock Android on Xiaomi's Mi A3. Then we have the Realme 5, which is actually 3,000 rupees less than the Mi A3, but for that price what you get is a 720p display. It's of course not AMOLED, it's LCD, but it is a 720p plus display, just like the Mi A3. It's actually a much bigger display than the Xiaomi Mi A3. You get the same Snapdragon 665, you get a 5000 mAh battery. You still do get Color OS, and cameras are not as good as the Mi A3, of course, but for someone who wants performance out of their phones, who wants that processor, that battery life, that big display, I think the Realme 5 is a good choice as well. That said, with a Super AMOLED display, albeit 720p plus, and the Android One software that runs on it, along with the phenomenal back cameras and the audio performance that it gives with the single speakers and the headphone jack, I think the Mi A3 is a great product for 13,000 rupees. And I think if you like the ring of it, the Mi A3 is an absolutely good product to put your money on. And with that, I leave you to it. And don't forget to check out our giveaway that's happening. Of course, if you're watching this video a lot later than this was launched, then the giveaway is probably over. But if you're not, then please go and check out the giveaway that's going on in the YouTube community on Mr. Phone. So thank you so much for watching. Sreehari from Mr. Phone, and I'll catch you in the next one.